Gladiators back there was the equivalent of MMA fighters and fighters now.
Yeah.
They were superstars. They weren't just slaves.
Right.
They won their freedom 3 or 4 times. They wouldn't give up. They wanted to fight till they die in the arena because they loved the attention they got.
Totally makes sense.
The best ones, the ones that won their freedoms and just kept fighting, they were all vegans and vegetarians.
Really?
They checked the marrow of their bones. The amount of meat they had was almost doesn't exist.
But they were feeding all the gladiators. They were feeding them like a gruel. It was like a
very small meat. The meat didn't even matter. Listen, they showed ancient times in Rome. I don't know if they showed the ancient time how people lived. They had a couch, had a little table, and they had a picture of a warrior up there. It's like we might have a fighter or something. They had a warrior take the chisels in the wall.
Shalom, it's your brother Yawanathan. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rekar Kadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. All right, so you seen the clip I ran in the beginning of the video. So I'm just responding to it. All right, now the thing I'll say in overall, you guys know that the ancient gladiators in Rome, majority of them were what? They were Israelites. Okay? And those same spirits that were entertainers for the bread and circus back then in ancient Rome, they're the same spirits that are the major entertainers and for the bread and circus today. All right? Everybody comes back in their same lot. Everybody has been here before, time and time again, being that same, individual or spirit they were created to be. The prophets come back in their lots. The scoffers come back in their lots. Everybody has a place in the Most High's movie. And to back that up, let's go to Revelation, the 10th chapter and the 8th verse. We'll start here at the top. It says, "And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go and take the little book." The little book is the scriptures, which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said, Take it and eat it up, meaning to digest it. Let it sit in your mind. Understand it. All right? And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth as sweet as honey. Now, when you first get this understanding, just like when you first eat something, it's in your mouth first. And when you first find out that you're part of a regal lineage, that the earth was made for your sake and it's going to be given unto you eventually, it's very sweet to know that. But it makes your belly bitter when you digest it and you realize the discord, the curses that we're under, the strife within the family, our place in society. When you really digest it, which is within your belly, right? It becomes bitter because you're like, damn, look at the state that we're in, right? So let's read it again. And it shall make thy belly. That's like verse 9 from the top. It says, "And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book, the Bible. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth as sweet as honey." All right, so you get it. Verse 10, "And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter." Now, verse 11, the point, pursuing to that everybody has their lots, and they come back time and time again, and they're that same spirit that they were in past lives, right? Verse 11, "And he said unto me, Thou must," he's saying this to John, the angel, "thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings." Now remember, John died on the island of Patmos. So when he's saying you're going to be prophesying again before many peoples and nations and tongues, it's talking about his different carnations. When he comes back, he's going to be doing the same thing. He's going to be prophesying. All right, so those people that were gladiators, they're here today. Same spirits doing the same kind of stuff. So, the fact that the Lord has allowed you to comprehend this thing, to be a part of it. Some listening may be actual men of the Lord that you make lessons well. That's a telltale sign that the list of people that could be a part of the elect is getting short. And I know I'm coughing, man. Shalakia. Still getting over this cold. I don't know what it is. All right. We gotta start getting excited because the prophecies are playing out. We understand how they're playing out. The Lord has allowed us to see. It's getting narrow as far as who could be a part of that number. We hope that we're a part of the number, but we don't know just yet. But things are looking up. We just gotta stay the course. All right. Now, another thing they mentioned was the Gladiators diet. I like the Joe Rogan podcast. You know what I mean? A lot of topics are brought up that we can go into and say, hey, no, I know what they said on this show, but here's the spiritual aspect of it. A lot of topics, that could pop up during those interviews. But brothers, we're gonna have to become acquainted with different grains, the herbs and things like that. The diet's gonna switch up as this food shortage begins to happen. The first thing that's gonna go is meat. Now, I would say, you're not wicked if you set aside some meat, got a deep freezer, you want to set aside some meat or something like that, just to hold you over for a little bit of time. But at the end of the day, we know ultimately the Lord is going to be feeding us. But yeah, I got this article here. It says gladiators were mostly vegetarian. All right. But does this mean that, you shouldn't be eating meat? Am I saying that? No, because, even in the kingdom, we're going to be eating meat. You got some Israelites that say, you shouldn't be. Look, bro, they had a Passover, you have to have lamb. Anyway, it says Roman gladiators, and then, they're going to have the images of the Edomites up there. It says Roman gladiators had a diet that was mostly vegetarian, according to an analysis of bones from cemetery where the arena fires were buried. It says the study has been carried out by academics from the Medical University of Vienna in Austria and the University of Bern in Switzerland. They digging up bones over there in Switzerland. That seems to be the testing grounds for a lot of the wickedness that this devil is doing. Okay, they found the gladiator diet was grain-based and mostly meat-free. The examination of gladiator bones also found evidence they drank a drink made of plant ashes. This ash drink was a form of health-boosting tonic to help gladiators recover after fighting and training. All right. Let's see. It goes on. It says plant ashes were evidently consumed to fortify the body after physical exertion and to promote better bone healing, says Fabian Kahns from the Department of Forensic Medicine at the Medical University of Vienna. He said it was like the way we take magnesium and calcium in the form of effervescent tablets, for example, following physical exertion. So yeah, man, their whole diet and their day-to-day was molded around, their craft. The same way our day needs to be molded around the word and the spirit. All right, and I would say this, man. Daniel, when he didn't want to eat of the king's meat, and we'll go get. I should actually go get that account. When he didn't want to eat of the king's meat, it said that Daniel and his fellows were healthier than the rest of the king's counselors. It never fails. You make it a lesson, you get a phone call. All right, but this is Daniel 1. This is the account with Daniel and how they didn't eat of the king's meat, and how the Lord, he made sure that they were good. So we'll start here at the top, Daniel 1:1. It says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it. They were led away captive. All right? Always so many different accounts of the scattering of Israel. We've been scattered all over the earth. And if you don't understand the diaspora, then you can't understand the volume of the book. You can't understand certain things that are being said. And we're going to reiterate that until the chariots come back. All right? Verse 2. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried away into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, lowercase g. And he brought vessels into the treasure of the house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes. So Daniel was of the king's seed. He was a pleasant, child. He was well kept, and he was brought up in the court of Babylon. So he would learn their language, learn their customs and their ways. Okay, so he could be an advisor in the king's court. Verse 4: children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge. Because the prince, man, when you're of that royal lineage, which, we fell so far. Princes are groomed to understand the vastness of life, the customs, things people need to be. They're groomed to rule. They're groomed to be skillful and to be a Renaissance man, so to speak, from a very young age. And the beautiful thing about coming into this truth is we're treated as such. The Lord you become a learned man in so many different topics when you pick up this book. When the Lord gives you the eyesight to see. You learn about history. You learn about real science. You learn about, things to come. You learn about prophecy, which is you can't go learn that in the world anywhere. You learn about true prophecy. Okay? You learn about, diet. You learn about, medical things. You learn about everything. This is all encompassing. Okay? Let's start verse 4 again from the top. The children of whom there was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, right? Real science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Verse 5. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat. And it was abominable, right? The meat that the king was serving was, they probably was eating all kind of wickedness, man. Things that they knew not to eat. Knew that this is off. We shouldn't eat these things. And the wine which he drank. So nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belshazzar, and unto Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego. But, verse 8, Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, because it was abominable, clearly, nor nor the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Yahweh had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. The Lord have it set up to where, even people that are, supposed to be, an oppression unto you. The scriptures say, when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Right? So Daniel's ways clearly please the Lord. All right, verse 10. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse, liking the children which are of your sort? Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king. He's like, man, you guys gotta eat this food. Because if I see it, the king sees I'm not doing my job, and you're looking unhealthy because you're not having real meals, then I could lose my life. Daniel said this, verse 11. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. When you go look up that word pulse, let's go look it up real quick here. Pulse is vegetables, but when we look it up, it goes back to the word.
Strong's H2235. Zeroim.
Vegetables, all right.
And the form just below that, Zereodim.
All right, so we're reading the KJV over here on the left, verse 11 once more. It says, Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse, vegetables, to eat, and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. All right, then make your decision, right? So he was consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. Verse 15. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat of the portion of the king's meat. So yeah, man, that could be a healthy, choice of, a lifestyle. But it's nothing wrong with eating meat, obviously. But I would say, vegetables, grains, herbs, that does need to be a big part of our diet. It's very hard to do. I ain't gonna say it's hard to. I ain't gonna say very hard, but it is. It does take more effort to eat properly in this kingdom, man. It's devil. Everything he puts before you and easily accessible is off to you. You know what I mean? You got to go to your enemy for one need of all things, and so that too is a part of the curse. But our diets are going to be immaculate in the kingdom, man. I'm talking about, whoa, But yeah, especially, if you're going back to the Gladiators, for them to perform at that high level, for athletes in this time to perform at a high level, diet is very much a part of your performance on how well you do. You know what I mean? The lengths you can go to. And I had my my time being a gladiator, so to speak. So I do know that diet. I can attest to that. Diet is very important. I remember times my diet was good. I was able to do certain things and push myself to certain limits or extents that I couldn't do when I wasn't, my diet wasn't on point. But yeah, man, I think I'm going to just start taking a bunch of clips like that I run across and just make quick lessons and respond to them. And Lord willing, people get something out of them. Maybe they'll spur the lessons or, things for me to look into. I'm just going to try to, yeah, man, just pump them out. Just pump them out. There's nothing else to do. Get a little free time, man. Just do something spiritual with it. Give your time to the Lord. Yeah. Give your time to the Lord. So, with that being said, I want to give all praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers. And of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right. May the blessing of election be upon your house. All right. Shalom.